So let's talk about the divergency and convergency concepts. Now, two reminders before we begin. Number one, these are not trading signals per se just yet. These are simple indicator concepts that a trader must be familiar with before actually trading with indicators. And a second reminder, or should I say it's just a note, it's not a reminder. Quite honestly, I wanted to keep this a secret until chapter 7, but I think that I should tell you because I really want to avoid any potential confusion at any stage of this learning program. So a few lessons back, actually it was chapter 3, lesson 12, I told you that you must never trade a hectic market. Remember the hectic market picture, and that if you see something like this, never trade it. And I want to add something to this. And this is absolutely true, and you should never trade a hectic market. However, this is only true if you are trading purely indicators with no other help from any other analytical tools. So this is only relevant to things that we are learning right now, which are the indicators and the general concept of looking at the market and understanding the shapes and structures and the condition and the mood that the market is in. But later, starting with chapter 7, I will teach you how to trade in any kind of market and even in a hectic market. I just wanted to clarify this so that you don't think that you will never be able to trade in any kind of the market. No, that's not the case. This is only for the purposes of indicator trading and simple understanding of the market. So please, if you could go back in your notes to chapter 3, lesson 12, and just mark somewhere on top with vivid letters that this is relevant only to pure indicator trading. And later on, you will learn how to trade in any kind of market. So one last time, no trading in a hectic market rule applies only to pure indicator trading with no help from any other analytical tools. All right, back to the topic of this lesson. And the topic is divergencies and convergencies. So let's talk about what those are and where do those come from. Well, obviously from the name of the MACD itself. MACD is once again moving average, convergency, divergency. So what is a convergency? A convergency is something that when we see it, we are actually quite happy to see it, because convergency most of the time confirms the power of the trend and that the trend is working. So here, let's take this piece of the chart. As we can see, we have a top wave, and then a really strange, slow, but still a trend down. Now, as you can see and remember from the comparing of tops and bottoms of the waves, we can see that this top wave is higher than the next one, which means we are going down. So the trend from before, the uptrend, is losing its power and turning into the falling trend. The same thing we can actually see in the MACD. Let's take a look at the MACD line. We have this top wave right here, and then there is the next top wave right here, and then there is the next one right here. And so there are also the bottom waves. Here is one, then here is one, and the next one, well, this one here is also a bottom wave, but it's too small and too complicated to see. That's why I'll say that this is the next bottom wave right here. So yes, MACDs do have waves, and those waves are gonna be the core structures, the core shapes that we are gonna be looking at. And now, how does this compare to the price? What I mean is, how do these waves in MACD compare to the relevant waves in the price? So this wave right here, this top wave, it's relevant to this top wave in the price. And so is this top wave in the MACD being relevant to this top in the price. And of course, the bottom wave, for the sake of example, let's check it. So here is the bottom wave, and this is the relevant bottom wave in the MACD to this bottom wave in the price. So now, what is a convergency? A convergency is when the structure of MACD waves correlate by logic to the ones in the price. So as we can see here, that this top wave right here is lower than the previous one. So it is here. This top wave is lower than this one. Then if we look at the price, here is a small top wave and it is lower than this one right here. Let's take a look at the MACD. This is a very small and difficult to see, but again, I'm showing actual real market examples with no synthetic drawings or any simplified examples. So right from the start, I want you to be looking at actual charts and actual markets. So yes, here we can see a really small top MACD wave, which can be quite difficult to see, but it is there. So, and how does it compare to this one? So it is also lower than its predecessor, than this wave. And this is what we call a convergency, when the MACD waves repeat the structure of the waves in the price itself. And this is quite nice, and we can always say that if we have a convergency, then the trend is working and the MACD is not telling us that there might be a potential weakness and is not showing us any weakness for the trend that we see. Now, the divergency is something that I pay very, very close attention to when I'm trading, simply because the divergency is our core concept of identifying a weakness in any given trend. For example, here we have a bottom wave, and this is the correlating bottom wave in the MACD right here. And then the next bottom wave is this one. And the correlating one in the MACD is this one. Now, look what is happening after this. Now, let's compare these two waves in price and MACD. In price, this wave, so the second wave, is still lower than the one before, which means that the trend is still working nicely by our, comparing of the wave tops and bottoms. This concept, according to that concept, the price is still going down in a nicely moving trend. However, now look at the MACD waves. As you can see here that the previous one, so the wave number 1 is lower than the wave number 2. The wave number 2 is higher. It's moving higher than the previous one. But in the price, once again, the second one is lower. This is called the divergency, when actually the reading from the price is different than the reading from the MACD. Those two readings are diverging, and this is where the divergency is coming from. And this is where it is based on. And when we see a divergency in a trend, in MACD and the price, and we see those readings diverging, so we are having a divergency, this is the core concept of a trend weakness. And we can identify a weakening trend. So here, as we can see, that the price was moving down in a nice downtrend, but here, right about here, when the MACD passed above the trigger, we could say that we have a major weakness in the trend because of the divergency. And if we look at the price, there is nothing yet to see, simply because we are still moving down, and we just went beyond the previous bottom wave. So there is nothing to worry about, and the trend is still working. But the MACD is already telling us a huge story. It is telling us that the trend is losing its momentum. It is losing its power, and there is a chance for a turnaround. And look what happens. We still move down a little bit, but we come nowhere close to the previous bottom wave. And then we go up and we go higher than the previous top wave. And if you remember the concept of the top and bottom waves, the comparing the top and bottom waves, then around here, around this section, we would be able to say that the trend is turning and there is a weakness. However, the MACD told us this quite a long time ago. So this is around this section where the MACD would tell us that there is a trend weakness. And this is the place where the price itself would tell us that there is a trend weakness. So now this is the way I want you to be learning how to trade and slowly be adding more and more tools and concepts and strategies to your trading. We've began with analyzing the price itself, and sometimes and quite often we can see the weaknesses of the trends in the price. Now we're adding MACD to our system, and we can see that MACD allows us to identify a weakness a lot sooner and a lot earlier than the price itself can notify us of a weakness. So we've already improved our view to the market. And here we can see another convergence. Let's compare this bottom wave to this bottom wave. And what do we see? This bottom wave is obviously higher than this one. And so is the price. The price tells us the same exact story. So around this section, this is where the turn of the trend happened. With the help of MACD, we identified it a lot sooner than the price could tell us. And now we are in a nice climbing trend. And the MACD is telling us the same story. So once again, bottom wave, well, we could say a really long side move-ish bottom wave right here. And each one is higher than its predecessor, than the wave before. And so is in the MACD. This one is higher than the previous one. This one is higher. And then this one is also higher. So this is a convergence, and there is no weakness in the trend yet to see. So we had a uptrend, we had a really nice convergence here, then a divergence, and then again a convergence. So this is the way that we should be looking at the MACD. When we see a trend, we see a divergence, great. The trend might be coming to an end and we should keep our eyes open, maybe perhaps leave the trade if we have traded this trend. So this is pretty much the way we should be looking at the MACD. When we have a trend, MACD does a great job of identifying the trend weakness at the earliest possible position. And then when the trend is working, the MACD is great for actually confirming the power of the trend with the convergence. And then once again with the divergence, it will be giving us a lot of hints in terms of potential turn that is coming and the potential change in the trend direction. All right, this lesson is coming to an end. Good luck on your test and enjoy your homework. And I'll see you in the next lesson.